Manic Monday here at the afternoon shift. It is Monday, March 9th. I'm Adam Lorenz. Thank you all so much for starting out your awesome week with us. We got beautiful weather today, and we have a great executive producer joining me as well, Paul Milgate. Paul, what is going on?
I'm not as good as the weather, that's for sure.
Nobody's as good as the weather today.
That's true. The weather's pretty good right now.
It is.
Oh, it's that glimmer that winter is maybe behind us. But then hearing that there's some teasers that later on in the week that maybe that glimmer's about to go away.
I was going to say, there's snow coming, I think, on Wednesday or something, but we can enjoy it while we have it now.
You know what is different between this year and last year? I don't know if you've noticed this. There is already green grass. Last year, everything was so dead and brown and grey underneath the snow, but this year I've noticed that there's already some green in the grass, which makes me think it's going to be an early spring.
I hope so. I think with the time change that we experienced yesterday, things are kind of turning up spring, but I think there's still a couple more little patches of winter weather. But hey, listen, this is Minnesota. There might be snow in April and May. Who knows, right?
It can always happen. It can happen. But, you know, like I said, green grass. The green grass.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
How was your weekend?
It was great. I feel like a grown-up. I've bought a Dyson vacuum cleaner.
Oh.
That is, I'm no way affiliated with Dyson. They did not give me any discounts, but I feel like I've hit adult now that I own a Dyson vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
Do you know why? They're brilliant.
Yeah, I've never owned a vacuum cleaner before, but it sounds interesting.
And how do you clean your floors?
I Swiffer, and then every few days I'll get a vacuum to come in, but I don't personally own it.
It was the first thing I've purchased, because normally when you buy something and out of the box they're like, make sure you've charged it before you use it.
Yeah, I usually don't buy things like that.
Well, this is the first time I ever followed those rules. Even though I was really tempted and I wanted to go and vacuum the entire house, it said that I needed to put it on charge and let it get a full charge cycle in before I used it. So it was the first time I've ever followed that. So I did that last night at about 9 p.m, put it on charge, and installed it on the wall. It's charged overnight. When I get home, vacuuming everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm not much of a handy kind of guy. You're much more handy than me, so I would have gotten frustrated.
Well, I don't know how handy I am, to be honest. I blew a fuse in my car trying to install a new radio on the weekend, but at least I figured that out, and I'll try and sort that out. Take 2 next weekend.
Yeah. Things that I cannot do are install radios.
Maybe you come over this weekend and I'll show you how to take the old radio out. We'll put the new one in together. You can help me.
Big golf tournament happening in Jacksonville. All the players. I'll be locked into that.
Well, that sounds as interesting as watching paint dry to me. So there you go. That's what makes the world a beautiful place. We all like different things.
Instead of vacuuming myself tonight, I'll be tuned in right here on Fox 9 at 7 o'clock. I'll be watching Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. They're playing Mexico, trying to avenge a loss from last year. Team USA 2 wins on Fox 9 this past weekend, Friday night. They also played, I think, Saturday night. 2 kind of blowout wins, but tonight will be a real test. Mexico's got a very good team. So
how's Australia faring?
They're not in the World Baseball Classic.
I thought they were playing Chechnya. Isn't that what you said?
Sorry. They are in the World Baseball Classic. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been keeping up too much with the Australians.
Can you just keep up with the Australian one and fill me in? That'd be great.
Yeah, okay, all right. I keep up with there's only kind of a few teams, but Australia's not one of them that I keep up with.
Maybe they're they're the dark horse or something. They're going to creep through and take it out.
You think the Aussies could give the DR and
I don't know.
Puerto
Probably
Rico
not in baseball, to be fair.
I don't know about that.
But I think when America starts playing cricket, get ready to get completely crushed.
There you go. Yeah. We got no chance when it comes to cricket. No chance. But we do have a great chance tonight against Mexico. Should be a great game. I think it's being played in Houston. It should be awesome. 7 o'clock right here on Fox 9. What also is awesome is the show that we have planned out for you all today. So many great guests coming up. After this segment at about 3:10, 3:15, we're going to be talking all about magic mushrooms. I didn't really know too much about these. We're going to be hearing from DFL Representative Andy Smith, who is authoring a bill all about these magic mushrooms, trying to get them legalized here in Minnesota. Very regulated, but we're going to be talking more to Representative Smith about that. And speaking of regulation, there was a big press conference earlier today about AI and its prevalence in the state of Minnesota and the ways it can be regulated. We're going to be replaying back parts of that press conference, and then I'm going to be joined by Fox 9 reporter Rob Olson, who was filling in for Amy Hockert earlier today on All Day, watching that press conference live. He'll be with us to kind of help break it all down to us. Then after that, I'll be joined in studio by our good friend, Mr. Tane Danger. You probably have seen him out and about. He has served as an MC speaker at a number of events and whatnot. He's a great guy. He has gone all across the state of Minnesota over the last several months, finding different stories, finding different sort of cultural anecdotes about some of the cities and towns that you may not hear too much about within the land of 10,000 lakes. And they've created this sketch comedy show called Sketches of Minnesota. It's being played on Wednesday in Minneapolis, on Friday in Rochester. But today we have Tane Danger in studio to chat about that. Super excited about that. Then after that, if you were paying attention to the boys' state hockey tournament, Moorhead, the Spuds from Moorhead. I learned just today, a suburb of Fargo, North Dakota. They are the back-to-back champions in Class 2A. One of their players just got announced today that he is Mr. Hockey in the state of Minnesota. And just to add a cherry on top, their quarterback also committed to the University of Minnesota today. He's one of 3 Spuds to join coach at PJ Fleck's class of 2027 recruiting class. Their athletic director will be joining me. And then after that, we're going to keep Tane in studio for a little game of news or nah, all about Minnesota small towns and communities. I know nothing about this game. I'm very excited. I learned a couple of Minnesota terms today in the office, so I'm excited to put my terminology to good use at 4:15. And then at 4:30, sports betting. You've been hearing about it. Minnesota, it's only one of 10 states in the United States to not have legalized sports betting in any capacity. The only state in the Midwest to not have legalized sports betting. Republican Representative Nolan West of Blaine, Minnesota. He's been on top of this story. He's been trying to get some legislation passed. He'll be joining me to talk all about that. And we're on standby. President Donald Trump will be speaking live from a press conference at Trump National Doral in Florida as well.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That is actually penciled for 4:30 Central Time. But politicians of late have not been particularly timely, so we thought we'll keep that interview in place. We'll take that and we'll keep half an eye on when President Trump actually gets to the podium, because who knows, it may happen in our window, it may not happen in our window. So we'll be doing a little bit of what we call tap dancing here when we get close to 4:45 if President Trump isn't at the podium yet, but we will no doubt keep you informed and entertained if we can.
That's right. That's right. The president's spending his weekend down in Florida, and this will be the last event that he does before he flies back up to the White House. All right, let's get into some headlines for today. We're going to start on a solemn note. We touched on this story last week. Fallen soldier Sergeant Nicole Amore of White Bear Lake was remembered inside the Minnesota State Capitol today. The 39-year-old mother of 2 was killed in Kuwait last weekend while with the U.S. Army Reserves as part of Operation Epic Fury. Sadly, she was just a few days from returning home. She was set to return home later this month. Minnesota lawmakers held a moment of silence for her on the Senate floor. Nicole Amore, one of 6 U.S. Army Reserve soldiers killed in Kuwait last weekend. Again, a 39-year-old mother of 2 from White Bear Lake, Minnesota. So she is in our thoughts. If you notice the flags flying at half staff, that's because of Sergeant Nicole Amore as well. So we're continuing to keep her on top of mind here in Minnesota. Okay, let's move on to some football here. The NFL's legal tampering period opened this morning ahead of the start of the league year in free agency on Wednesday. The Vikings have made some moves. They've announced that they've agreed to terms with linebacker Eric Wilson on a multi-year deal. They also tendered a 1-year contract to Ivan Pace. But the million-dollar question here in Minnesota, and I'll bring Paul into the conversation here, is what the Vikings are going to do at quarterback. Not a whole lot of votes of confidence behind J.J. McCarthy, who only started half the games really last season, missed his entire rookie season with an injury. There's a lot of thought that the Vikings are going to be bringing in a veteran quarterback to compete with J.J. McCarthy this offseason, with the hopes of really finding a winner between the two of them to start week 1 of this upcoming season. So the million-dollar question, Paul, here in Minnesota, we asked Representative Matt Norris.
I imagine it's probably worth more than a couple of mil.
Yeah, more than a couple of million is
the multi-million-dollar question.
The multi-million-dollar question is who the Vikings will be starting at quarterback. What are your thoughts? Who do you think they should?
Well, look, I mean, you know me. I don't know a lot about this, but was it Sam Darnold that everyone was getting excited about towards the end of the season last year?
Yeah, well, so he was the Vikings quarterback, not last year, but the year before.
That's right.
And then they let him walk.
That's right. They let him go.
He went to Seattle, and then
That's
he just won the Super Bowl.
And just won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Look, I don't know. to be honest, I'd just be, where just like thin slicing the whole situation. I'm looking at it and Kevin O'Connell, like, what's going on? He went from hero to zero.
He's on the hot seat.
I would think that this is a pretty big decision for him in his career because, like you maybe one season you get kind of as a gimme, like you kind of maybe missed the opportunity, maybe you should have kept Sam Darnold, all that stuff. This feels like if he doesn't rectify this disastrous season that we just had, like, because he was coach of the year, wasn't he?
Yeah. Literally 2 years ago.
2 years ago, coach of the year, turned the whole thing around. The back end of that season, they started to do really well, surprisingly. I don't know. I think that if I was nervous, if I was one person to be nervous involved in the entire Vikings situation, I'd be nervous to be Kevin O'Connell. That's what I've got to share. I mean, other than that, I don't really have anything to say. Yeah,
I think the decision, it's kind of a little bit more on him now that the GM is out of the picture. They fired him several weeks ago. So, yeah.
I mean, right. maybe that kind of takes the pressure off Kevin, I guess, a little bit, that the GM got the boot. So it's like, well, okay, maybe those bad decisions can be now pinned on the GM, and so it gives him a fresh slate. I don't know.
Sure, but it also, and I think it also puts some puts him.
You've got to make all the right decisions now,
exactly.
Yeah.
And he's got this reputation of being the quarterback whisperer and a guy that can really fix quarterbacks and really develop quarterbacks. The J.J. McCarthy experiment hasn't exactly worked out to plan, so. We'll see, but I'm with you.
What's your take? Who's going to start for us?
I think they need to bring in somebody else, like maybe like a Kyler Murray from the Cardinals or somebody to that effect. Maybe Geno Smith from the Raiders. I think you got to bring in somebody because I don't think that J.J. McCarthy, I don't feel like you can have all the confidence in the world making him your week one starter. But, hey, these guys are getting paid the multi-million-dollar contracts, like you said. I'm just a talking head. So
I mean, JJ had a lot of stuff going on in his personal life last season too, right?
Yeah,
fresh dad. He was a fresh dad.
Yeah, he is. But in the NFL, they care about wins and losses, and that's I know it's a cutthroat business. I'm not saying it's right. But they care about wins and losses. And when you go from high expectations of Super Bowl contender to finishing in third place in your division and missing the playoffs altogether, the conversation isn't as feathers and rainbows and sunshine.
And this is going to show just how dumb I am when it comes to all of this. But is there a receiver that's in the team that's very good?
Yes, Justin Jefferson.
A
lot of people feel like they're wasting his career right now.
Has Justin Jefferson weighed in on any of this stuff about whether we should be having a new quarterback or we should be going with who we've got?
He hasn't verbally. His body language during games has suggested frustration. But I think Justin Jefferson is very smart. He's got smart people around him, and he's not going to create a wave when he doesn't need to surf, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I mean, there's also that layer then of Justin Jefferson in the mix as well. So it's like if Kevin O'Connell lets this season slip by, then surely the good graces of Justin Jefferson, he'll be like, I'm going to move on and find somewhere else, right?
Correct.
So,
there's a lot
riding on this season. It could be maybe. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing to see us just come out of nowhere and take it?
Sure. Yes.
It's incredible.
It would. It's gonna be a challenge. The Vikings are in a very difficult division, but they got a lot of big decisions to make here in the next couple weeks and months. So we'll see what they end up doing. Obviously, the NFL draft happening next month as well, where the Vikings will be making some moves there. But I don't expect them to draft a quarterback. I expect them to go out and sign a quarterback this offseason. So we'll see what ends up happening.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to jump off now because I can just see that Representative Andy Smith is on the line. So let's take us to break, and then after we come back, we'll be ready to chat to him.
Awesome. I learned a new word today, psilocybin. Psilocybin mushrooms. We're going to learn all about them with Representative Andy Smith. There is a push to get these psilocybin mushrooms legalized in Minnesota. Representative Smith knows all about that and more. Don't go anywhere. The afternoon shift is taking you all the way to 5 o'clock. the afternoon shift, Minnesota lawmakers are considering a pilot program to legalize psilocybin mushrooms for therapeutic use in supervised settings. This effort is bipartisan, and it's led by DFL Representative.
Come on, give us, what is it again? Say it again. The word, your fresh new word you learnt today.
Psilocybin.
Psilocybin. You really nailed that.
I love this word.
From today, when you were a bit like, how do I say this? And you were listening. I'm just going to peel back the curtain for everyone here. Adam was typing it into like Google Pronounce or whatever the app is. Was. And to be fair, it actually said it different.
Yes, it did. But then we got corrected by our friends upstairs.
Our friends in the creative services. Shout out, friends in creative services.
That's
we'll
right.
know if you've been watching the show today if you say, oh yeah, they did listen. They did mention us. Yeah, psilocybin. There you go.
Psilocybin. Yeah, I've learned it. We used AI to learn how to pronounce it. And now it's going to be pronounced all throughout the chambers and hallways of the Minnesota State Capitol. The effort to get these legalized in the state, it's bipartisan. It's led by DFL Representative Andy Smith and Republican Senator Mark Coran. We are pleased to be joined right now by Representative Andy Smith. Representative Smith, thanks so much for making time for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Adam, happy to be on here, and congratulations on the pronunciation of psilocybin. You nailed it.
Okay, I'll take that as a huge compliment, especially coming right from you, the man that's trying to get these legalized in Minnesota. Representative Smith, there's a lot of people that have no idea what psilocybin mushrooms are. Can you tell us what exactly are these?
Yeah, the basic idea is that psilocybin is a thing in mushrooms that activates your brain, basically, and creates this very unique experience. In the past, people have thought about it as magic mushrooms, maybe something people will take at a party somewhere. But as we have seen more and more research over what these particular things can do in the brain when guided with psychotherapy, they have shown tremendous power to help in a vast array of mental health illnesses, from substance use disorder to chronic pain to depression to PTSD. And especially groups with veterans and public safety officers who have been in hard situations and have PTSD have seen tremendous healing from these guided sessions. So that is why we're trying to create a program in Minnesota so that folks who need it have access responsibly to this substance.
Representative Smith, I'll just ask you straight up, in order to really kind of pass this piece of legislation, I would suspect that you probably want to know the product. Have you yourself used these in a supervised setting?
I have not. And one of the reasons is because of that question right there. As someone trying to move it, I wanted to make sure that the science was speaking for itself, that it wasn't, a hobby horse of one particular lawmaker or another. But I have seen the science, I've talked to the doctors, the clinicians, the people who've experienced this, and that's my motivation behind this.
I just want to jump in. So one thing that Representative and I were chatting about during the ad break is just to be very clear, this is not for recreational purposes. There's a very fine that this is to be used in clinical settings. It's not just people going to a festival. I think that there is some confusion around that. So it was interesting to have Representative Smith mention that during the break. So I just want to be really clear with that. Anyone that's at home that's listening.
Yeah, that's correct.
No, that's a great point. And I guess my next question here is, why do you think that this is receiving so much bipartisan support?
It's the stories. I mean, we just got out of a hearing here in the Health Committee in the Minnesota House, and we had a veteran who served in Iraq. We had a police officer who struggled with something. We had someone who got out of an abusive relationship but was having trouble restarting her life, all across the spectrum. Someone who got out of homelessness, someone who got out of heavy drug use, and now doesn't even go to alcohol for a substance use disorder. So these stories, when you hear about them, and they're backed up now by medical research, just really brings to mind we should be using every single tool in our toolbox to help people who are struggling with mental health. And everyone in our society knows someone who's struggling with depression or struggling with substance use issues, and we want them to help. We know how debilitating that can be and how helpless you can feel. So there's a hope that we can have people, have more assistance. We've seen across party lines people excited to do that. Again, making sure it's safe and all sorts of things along that nature, but wanting to move forward on this.
Yeah. What kind of people would be eligible for the program?
So right now, all you would have to do is have a qualified medical diagnosis given to you by a qualified medical provider. So once the bill is passed, the Commissioner of Health will have basically a list of symptoms, probably things like PTSD, depression, some of the things I've mentioned, chronic pain. And if you get a diagnosis from a health professional, you can apply to the program. Now, there's also going to be a screening to see if there's other medical issues you might have that might prevent you from taking psilocybin. There are a couple around blood pressure and a couple things we want to be safe with. But if you approve those two things, then the commissioner can approve you for the program. Now, it's a test program. So in the first 3 years, the bill specifies that not more than 1,000 candidates in Minnesota can be approved. But that's hopefully so we can gather more information and expand the program in the future.
And again, this program would be supervised by medical professionals and so on, yeah?
That's correct. If you're into the program, you get a little card that says you're part of it. You would take the substance at a licensed facility with a licensed facilitator with you to help you throughout that. And actually, you would take the treatment in 3 sessions. The first is just informative, make sure you have consent, understand everything that's happening. Second is the actual administration of the drug and the experience. And the third is what we call an integrated session, where you have psychotherapy, again, with a licensed individual to help you integrate your experience so you can get the full healing benefits of the session. And we've seen this in a lot of clinical trials as the best possible way to help people with this drug.
I've got a quick question. Are magic mushrooms or psilocybin mushrooms, are they considered a Class A drug right now? Do you know?
They are at the state and federal level a Class 1.
Class 1.
Schedule 1 drug, I should say. My bill actually will change it from a state level to a Schedule 4 drug.
Okay.
Of course, we can't change that at the state level federally.
And then I guess my question for people that are out there that maybe are concerned about, access to drugs and people saying sort of gateway drugs, what would you say to people that are worried that this is going to open the gates to declassifying other drugs and maybe going all the way to the spectrum of, say, Oregon, who have, allowed people to have or decriminalized these kinds of drugs entirely?
Yeah, I mean, we have to, each of these policies is different and will be argued on their basis. This bill does not do this. It's very focused. It's very laser focused on a therapeutic program. The mushrooms themselves will be licensed through the Office of Cannabis Management because they're used now to federal substances that are Schedule 1 being grown and how to make sure that they are safe for individuals. And again, people can only access the drug itself at licensed facilities. So they are not going to be buying mushrooms or bringing them home or giving them to other people. They're only available at that location where they get the licensed area. I would also recommend folks to look at the research if they're concerned about that. Again, we've had people across the political spectrum see this research, hear the stories, and say, I might be against even things like cannabis legalization that is broadly popular, but in this case, this does seem to be something that medically I want Minnesotans to have access to.
Yeah. What's the next steps for this? Because you said, look, it's got bipartisan support. You're co-authoring it with one of your Republican counterparts there in the House of Representatives. Do you expect this to pass with flying colors, essentially, because of that bipartisan authorship it has?
We want to make sure this is ready to go. So I'm hopeful that it could pass this year, but it's got a lot of work to do, primarily around the money and the financing. Again, when we're talking about these programs, you got to make sure you have, again, licensed individuals, having the right information, having the right administrative structure, and it's a system from scratch. So we're working with the Department of Health. We're working with Office of Cannabis Management on a fiscal note so we know how much it will cost. And that'll really dictate whether it's this year or potentially next year during a budget bill that we can get this done. But I'm certainly dedicated to getting this across the finish line as soon as possible so people have access to these drugs. We're working hard on it, hopefully this year, if not this year, next year.
And, finally here, Representative Smith, just on a legislative note, does it feel good for you to have bills that are co-authored by some of your Republican colleagues just to show some, working across the aisle? Because, I think even federally, locally here at a state level, it's so hard to get things done with bipartisan support. And that's one of the most intriguing things I see about this bill here.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely, edifying to have that moment where we can talk and not have maybe the opportunity talking past each other, which we see a lot of times here at the Capitol, or entrenched positions, or even outside forces, cable news, all of a sudden taking things, outside of what we want to discuss here in the Capitol. But so far, that has not been the case here. Of course, we still have disagreements and detail-minded, but we've been able to discuss this really so that people have the best possible ability to get these drugs, which has been refreshing, as you say, when we are in this area of heightened tension and building across the aisle. So Of course, I wish other areas such as, common sense gun legislation would have the same sort of stuff, but I'm glad where we are at now that we are having this in the psilocybin area.
Before we let you go, I've got one follow-up. How many sessions does someone maybe need? Or have we seen that in the studies? Someone that's got really severe PTSD, is this something that they're going to have regularly, or is it like one and done? How does that work?
I'm so glad you asked this question because this is one of the incredible benefits of psilocybin and magic mushrooms generally, whatever you want to call them, is unlike SSRIs or antidepressants, which is normally the number one sort of pharmaceutical option if you're struggling from depression or anxiety. Those you normally take daily, sometimes multiple times a day, several milligrams. Psilocybin, in many of the researchers, shows positive benefits in as little as 1 to 3 sessions. So when you're going to those facilities, it's really for a handful of sessions over a year to have a really unique experience and be able to process it in a way to sort of heal the underlying trauma that is bringing about a lot of the symptoms. So ideally, it's much, much fewer, and it's not a continual dosage. It's a really focused treatment, which I think a lot of people hearing this who have had other treatments for depression would be really excited to try something different.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that would definitely like to sign up for this program as it gets started here, and we'll see if it passes through the Capitol and everything. We'll be keeping our eyes on it. Representative Andy Smith, one of the co-authors of this pilot program to legalize psilocybin mushrooms for therapeutic use. Representative Smith, we really do appreciate your time, and you're welcome back here on the afternoon shift anytime. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you giving this time, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Smith. That was great, and we'll keep our eyes on these psilocybin mushrooms, especially as they attempt to get legalized here in Minnesota. All right, we're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, there was a press conference earlier today from Minnesota State DFL Senator Erin May Quaid speaking on her bills to regulate artificial intelligence within the state. We're going to be playing back a clip of that press conference, and then I'm going to welcome in Fox 9 reporter Rob Olson, who was filling in on All Day today, watching that press conference live to help us break it all down. So some AI talk coming up right after this break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back here to the afternoon shift. We just mentioned it in our last segment. Earlier today, I used AI to learn the pronunciation of psilocybin, along with the help of some of my Fox 9 colleagues as well. Well, today, there is a lot of talk about regulating artificial
Did you
intelligence.
get it wrong then, though? Isn't it psilocybin?
It is psilocybin.
Psilocybin.
See, I
So
just
you
said it
needed
wrong.
AI to help you out.
But I think AI said that their pronunciation was psilocybin.
Psilocybin, which is where you got stitched up there because
Correct.
it did say that, yeah.
And then I got told it was really psilocybin.
Psilocybin,
But
that's
then AI told me that both are correct. So
And maybe they are.
I think
Tomato,
they are.
tomato.
Yeah, that's right. I don't even consider myself a big AI person, but I inherently used AI today when I asked for the pronunciation, didn't I?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, I think more and more, as we saw, that exposure that we're having, what did they say the other day? Was it 33% of Minnesotans in the workforce
Oh,
are
that's
using
right.
generative
Use AI.
AI?
That's
Like, will
right.
have at least a large component of their job could be done by AI. It's, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, were people angry about search engines like Google when they came out?
That's what
I'm not
saying.
entirely sure. I wasn't in the workforce at that point. Were people worried that that was going to affect their jobs?
Right.
I mean, I use AI. I'm a proponent of it. I use it in my personal life as well for things that I've got no idea about. I'll ask questions. I'll be like, well, what should I do if this happens? Or, just, I don't know. I mean, I think it's, as long as it's a tool and it's not something that's then like completely replacing everything. But then I guess, again, where's that line?
Of course. Somebody is trying to draw the line here in Minnesota, and that's going to be this press conference that we're going to play to you. Minnesota State DFL Senator Erin May Quaid. She spoke on her bills to regulate AI within the state. The bills are having their first hearings shortly in the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee within the state capitol today. But first, let's listen into what Senator Erin May Quaid had to say earlier today about regulating AI.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Senator Erin May Quaid. I represent Senate District 56 in Apple Valley, Rosemount, and Eagan. And I am here with this very dynamic, unique group of legislators to talk about some bills I have up in Senate Judiciary Committee today. I want to say up front, I am no Luddite. I think a lot of people in this room would know that I am a prolific social media user. Like many millennials, I'm an early adopter of technology. And in fact, millennials are what we call the bridge generation because we were raised as we bridged from analog to digital. I believe in the power of technology to make huge leaps in protecting our environment, advancing health sciences, and connecting people across differences and distances. So I say all that to say I don't hate AI. If it's done right, the promise of AI and other technological advancements could be tremendous. But the way that consumer-facing AI has been rolled out is a 5-alarm fire for our society and has devastating consequences and deadly consequences for both humans and our constitutional rights. Companies are using AI to bulk deny insurance claims without human review, gather enormous amounts of data that are used to surveil people and set different prices on consumers' desperation. Generative AI has destroyed people's lives with fabricated pornography, child sexual abuse material that's indistinguishable from real footage. Corporations have created chatbots that start sexual conversations with kids, affirm paranoid psychoses, and encourage suicidal ideation. And our constant data surveillance threatens our actual constitutional rights to move freely and live freely in our state. We cannot accept this, and we don't have to. For decades, tech companies have told legislators and the public that damage and destruction for their unregulated products is a necessary byproduct for growth and innovation. We no longer accept that narrative. The bills I'm presenting in Judiciary today will not stop technological advancement. They'll make sure that AI doesn't traumatize more people, push them to self-harm, or rob them of their constitutional rights. I'm proud to be working in a bipartisan manner to protect kids, consumers, and our freedoms and liberties across Minnesota. I do hope we see action on the federal level, but in absence of their action, state legislators step into the gap. And with that, I will introduce my colleague, Senator Eric Lucero.
Good morning and thank you. So Eric Lucero, I have the privilege of serving District 30, which includes the areas of Albertville, St. Michael, Otsego, Elk River area. And I do cybersecurity for my professional career. That's what I do outside the legislature. And at my entire time in the legislature, which has been in my 12th year now, I have long said the law is not keeping up with technology. Technology has been innovating since the beginning of time. And as that technology is adopted in the private sector for use and in the public sector by government, it can create a direct threat to our individual liberties, which is why I'm supporting some of these bills that have strong bipartisan authorship and support. I'm not a co-author and I don't support all the bills up here, but the conversation regarding artificial intelligence and other technology is one that is strongly bipartisan and is one that we need to continue to have. So I'm going to speak directly now to the reverse warrant Senate file. And so we know that our founding fathers architected our great republic around the fundamental truth of unalienable rights, which includes life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our founding fathers understood that the purpose of government is to secure these rights against abuse, and that includes against government itself. So our founding fathers included the Fourth Amendment, which explicitly protects against unreasonable searches and seizures against persons, houses, papers, and effects, except and unless there's a warrant that's supported by oath or affirmation that describes the particular place to be searched and the particular person or things to be seized. Reverse warrants are the antithesis of that. They lack these fundamental principles. Now, that's not to say that our professional men and women in law enforcement are bad, but it is to say that as technology continues to innovate, that we need to keep the law up with that technology to protect our fundamental rights, which have been there since the core of the founding of our great country. And with that, I will turn it over to my colleague, Senator Bolden.
You just heard from two senators there, Senator Aaron May Quaid, a DFL senator, and Senator Eric Lucero, a Republican senator, talking about regulating AI. And now we got a Fox 9 reporter and anchor, Rob Olson, in the House.
I listened to a lot of that this morning, and then we listened to little bits and pieces of the committee hearing that was going on this afternoon. And, this is all about what they referred to as AI is the wild west of technology right now. And it's changing rapidly, but regulations are not changing as rapidly along with them. So, there's a lot of questions about, boy, what do you do with this stuff? I mean, do you try to contain the beast?
Right.
Because we don't know where it's going, but we know how it's being used already.
Yeah.
So, interesting stuff that they were talking about.
Yeah. We have a theme of bipartisanship during our show today. I think it's interesting that we heard from both a DFL senator and a Republican senator. So it's clear that this is an issue that's important to both sides of the aisle here.
Yeah, and they'd said that in this morning's news conference there, is that this is something that crosses party lines, not just in Minnesota, but across the country. Other states are looking at the same thing, and it's concerns about various aspects of it. The one thing that they were talking about there is how AI is used in criminal investigations. In the hearing today, we heard from the police chief from Richfield, who was saying, in a little bit of opposition. He said, I do say that, AI does need some guardrails put on it, but don't take everything away from us because AI is used, in investigative reasons. And one of the bills is using a kind of reverse location, et cetera. So, they're talking about a dragnet. Say they're doing an investigation in a certain area, and then maybe they do a search of using AI to say who's searched this term on the internet in this geographic area. And Senator Aaron May Quaid said, I was watching the show How to Get Away with Murder, and I Googled that because I wanted to find out more about the show. And, does that populate up in an AI dragnet of internet searches? And now I'm included in this. And it just seems like, she was saying in that situation, it's an inappropriate use of AI. Yeah. To suddenly now you're looking at me for that reason. I mean, that was just one example in the investigatory reasons. The other things they talked about was, limiting minors' access to chatbots, meaning if you're chatting, like when you use ChatGPT to find out a pronunciation of psilocybin.
That's right.
But you can ask ChatGPT or anything and develop just a conversation.
Yeah.
And so another example she used was real life examples of kids asking about certain issues that then just led them to dark paths. Like she gave an example of I can't remember the age of the person, but it was a young teenager, let's say, asking about, how strong of a rope would I need to hang myself. and
Asking ChatGPT.
yeah,
questions.
and how that led to just giving advice on this, and this this is not good. I mean, that there need to be, sure, it's very helpful when you're asking how to pronounce words, but it's not helpful when you're asking for advice on other things, and so that was another area. Pardon me. Dynamic pricing is another issue they're talking about. Which is, using AI to say we're going to charge you more for this item than somebody else online because of what we can find out about you. And then the other one is prohibiting, say, health insurance companies from using AI to deny claims or to deny, if you have to get prior authorization for a particular treatment and AI just denies it. Rather than a human being. So they think it's, sure, it's efficiencies, but you're taking human beings out of some of these decision-making equations. And the concern is then that removes a layer of human thought on some of these.
Yeah. It's so interesting because most of the times that I hear people interacting with AI or my interactions with AI are positive ones, educational ones. Our executive producer, Paul Milgate, loves AI and does it to help him, kind of come up with different words to put in different situations or whatnot. I don't feel like a lot of people really consider the really dark effects of AI, like you were saying. Of, kids using it and going down these really dark paths potentially, and some of the other bad side effects that they definitely need regulation, and they're just not regulated right now.
Yeah, and using AI, I was just listening to New York Times podcast this morning about AI and about the Defense Department and their AI contract that the company. And why did I just blank on the name of the company? But that they're having issues with, and it's because of concerns about how AI is going to be used, in defense purposes or intelligence purposes. It's used to comb through, communications, text messages, et cetera, stuff that can be intercepted, and then AI can sort through that, looking for things rather than human beings, and it can be more efficient, quicker. They can go through a lot, but then again, you're losing some of the human oversight of it too.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about with this AI situation, and I guess we've been hearing about it here in Minnesota the last several weeks, and I know it's been talked about today in the state capitol, and I'm sure we're going to end up hearing more about it as well. Really appreciate all your perspectives.
And there was one other bill here too that was saying that you have to be able to know that you're communicating with a human being, so that if you are calling a company or whatever, and whether it's a chat or whether it's on the phone, that they have to disclose that you're talking to a artificial intelligence. When you're on a service thing, that there should be a disclosure requirement.
Yeah.
That I'm an AI chatbot, not a person.
What a world we live in. Stuff that I'm sure that people, 10, 15 years ago could never even imagine.
Yeah.
They're being talked about at the highest level now. So, Rob, really do appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Thank
really
you.
Do appreciate it.
Yeah.
When we come back here on the afternoon shift, we're going to welcome in Tane Danger. He's got this sketch comedy show called Sketches of Minnesota. He's gone to all these different places around the state, picking up different sort of fun facts and different cultural touchstone points. So excited to talk to Tane and about his show that he's got coming up. That's right after this break. Don't go anywhere. inside Studio 9. So pleased to be joined by one of the, in my eyes, one of the faces of Minnesota. You are. No, yes, that's you.
I was like, it's a small studio. Is there somebody else behind me? Yeah.
No, that's you.
That's very nice.
It's a big deal to have you back here.
Thank you so
Studio 9.
much.
Thanks
I'm
so
happy to be here.
For coming in. You're a great friend to our show. And we're talking all about sketches of Minnesota, some of your travels throughout the land of 10,000 lakes. Yeah?
I love it. This is a very cool project, I will say. I think that we get to do so. My company, Danger Boat Productions, with the Minnesota Humanities Center, go to communities all over the state. And so last summer and fall, we went to 9 different small towns, cities, places all around the state. And in each one, we would have a free community meal and kind of community gathering thing. And we would try and get all kinds of different people from that town to all come together and like have this meal together. But then what makes this like a whole other level is like they come together over this dinner and they talk about what's great about your town, what are things that people get wrong about your town, what are things that you wish were different or challenges, and then what do you hope for the future of this place? And Danger Boat Productions, my company, being an improv theater company, we have these very talented improvisers who listen to this whole thing, and then they, after dinner, do a show for the town, reflecting back, here's what we heard you say. Is what your town is all about. The good, the misconceptions, the things that you wish were different. We're going to do all of that as an improv show to kind of like reflect back for you what different people here think. And so we did this all over the state last year, and then we always have a talk back at the end. And so that's super fun. That's great. But now that we've gone to all of these places, we combined it all together. We collected stories from all these places, and we have written a sketch comedy show that takes you on a tour all over Minnesota, all these different communities, in one final scripted sketch show that we are doing this week in 2 totally free performances, one in Minneapolis and one in Rochester.
Yeah, the Minneapolis one on Wednesday, the Rochester one on Friday.
Yep.
This is something that I should definitely go to because I've never been outside of Hennepin or Ramsey counties.
It's like I feel like we have to stop the show right now. I'm gonna put him into the back of my car, and we're gonna just like, well, it's not even that far. I'll take you to Anoka, and we'll be somewhere new.
I've been there. Isn't that where Chanhassen is? It's technically Anoka, right?
No. I'm thinking we're going anyway. We'll go in any direction. Apparently, 30 minutes, and you'll be someplace you've never been before. Anyway, this is a good state.
Wait, one second. What's that, Paul?
I'm just saying, to Tane, that just goes to show that you have no idea of the geography of the Twin Cities either, Adam.
No, listen, I have never been outside of the Twin Cities metropolitan area. I may have touched on some other counties here and there, but never outside the Twin Cities metropolitan area. So it's a great state. So what's like the furthest town that you've visited?
Well, so with this tour, we did go to International Falls, which is about as far. Okay. That is literally you're getting Canadian radio stations like I mean that's right on the border. Yeah. Actually, that's one of the things they talk about is the bridge just goes right over Canada. So that's probably about as far. This is the second year we've done this. Yeah. This year, I think that the farthest that we went is a little town called Foston. Okay. Way out west. Okay. It's a place. Their town motto is "Where the prairie meets the pines."
That sounds exactly where I need to go.
Exactly. It's really nice. Yeah. Foston. We also went up to Big Fork. Okay. Big Fork. You would be forgiven for not. I'm guessing a lot of people don't. City is probably strong. It is a town of 400 people. Big Fork, but it's a great community. Yeah, and they have this beautiful art center in Big Fork. Yeah. We're in the heart of like they call it the edge of the wilderness right there. Yeah. So we went there, but we went to some bigger towns as well. We went to Rosemount, just south of the Twin Cities. We went to Rochester.
Yeah, that's the Mayo Clinic.
Mayo Clinic, yes. Yeah. Actually, it's funny you say that. So the entire sketch in the show about Rochester is about the misconception that people think everybody in Rochester works at the Mayo Clinic.
That's what I would.
Exactly. So we wrote like a whole comedy bit. Like, what if that was actually true? Like, literally every single person who lives in Rochester is a doctor.
I love that.
exactly.
You know what you caught my ear is that you said before even the shows in each of these towns, you had a community dinner. In each
Yeah.
So I got to ask, what was the best thing you ate while?
Oh, that's a good question.
The most Minnesota thing that you ate.
The most Minnesota thing. I mean, so this is we ate really well, like all over, in all the different places we went. I mean, I talked about Big Fork. They actually put together this entire like Greek shawarma chicken and falafel dinner for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the most Minnesotan thing that I ate, but it was delicious and great.
Did you have any like bison or elk or?
We did have elk, I think, in one
okay.
place,
All right,
and I'm forgetting where. I know. We had asabuco in
what's
one
that?
place. Beef, but it's like very it was great. So that was really good.
Hot dish? Any hot dish there?
You know what? Have you ever heard of a beef commercial?
No, this is a joke, right?
It is not.
A beef commercial?
Beef commercial.
What is that?
We went to Glencoe, Minnesota a couple of years ago, which is out west a little bit, and they claim to have the best beef commercials in Minnesota. So a beef commercial is named after the traveling salesman who would come into restaurants and order the beef commercial.
Okay.
And basically it's beef and potatoes and gravy and sort of in a sandwich form. It's a very hearty meal.
Oh, it's a meal. It's not a TV ad. Or
No.
Okay,
It's not. See, that's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not on
That's
TV.
what I
It's
thought.
it's an actual
meal.
dish.
It's a
yeah,
dish.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
It's so that's I don't know. That's a good one. Go to Glencoe. Get the best beef commercial in Minnesota.
Beef commercial. We're working new things. You know, you probably heard some Minnesota terminology that you probably don't maybe get in the Twin Cities, considering this is a community a lot of transplants or whatever. I learned one of them today. Oh for cute.
Oh for cute. I think that is. I hear that in the cities.
You hear that
Oh
in the
for
ci-
cute.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You got to say it though, like oh for cute.
Can you just translate? What does that mean?
Oh, for cute.
Can you use that?
You
in a
know,
sentence?
actually,
Yeah.
so I think that I think it's one of those things that can have two meanings. I think it could actually literally be something is cute, like oh that puppy, oh for cute, like look at it, it's making a little face, that's adorable. But I think also, and people should write. I don't know if there's a way to write into this show, but people should write in if I get this wrong. I think it can also be a little bit how people in the South have like oh bless your heart.
Yes, but that's not a compliment.
It's not, and I think sometimes if you do something kind of dumb,
That's
somebody
an
can
insult,
could be like, "Oh, for cute,"
Yeah,
kind of like that.
Gotcha.
So I think it can be a little double-edged depending on how it's used.
Yeah.
I think. I hope.
Yeah. Were there any more specific accents that you learned
The
there?
more specific accents. That's a good. I mean, words all over the state. I mean. A lot of people. I mean, just sure. Like people say that a lot. Do you hear the word ish?
Ish, no.
Ever.
Like 6 o'clock ish. Like I'm gonna.
No. It's like if like there was just something gross or something, and you like there were a banana peel on the ground, and you went and picked that up and be like ish.
Oh, okay.
Ish.
I've
Ew.
never heard that. No,
yeah.
no,
Ish.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
another Minnesota.
That's another one. I think that's Minnesotan. Yeah.
Well, this is great because Sketches of Minnesota, it really is, at its core, it's a statewide celebration
It is.
of the culture of Minnesota.
Oh yeah, it's a celebration of the culture and of each of these different communities and towns. And I mean a big piece of it, like there's all of the little pieces of like the things that make these different places unique and fun and that they love to celebrate. And there's also an element of the whole thing of like there is a lot more that we all have in common than is like separate, right? Absolutely. And every single place we went, here's the most heartwarming thing to me about this whole project is we would start every single show we go to with asking people, what do you love about your community? Yeah. And no matter where you are, if you ask people, what do you love about your town? They will talk your ear off for, 20 minutes if you will let them because everybody loves their town, something about their town. And they will tell you how they have the best art scene or they have the best parks or they have the greatest like riverfront like area anywhere. And so there's just something really neat about, I mean, I had never been to a lot of these places before going on this tour before. And to go to these places and then just have people tell you about why they love it. And like there's no accident that they're there. They're not sort of like wanting to go somewhere else. They're like, no, I love this place. This is my home. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah. Have you ever made it to Moorhead, Minnesota?
I have, not with this tour, but I have made it to Moorhead.
What's your favorite thing about Moorhead, Minnesota?
Oh, Moorhead is cool because it's one of those places that is sort of a little a little city, right? Like, and it's kind of like another twin city almost with Fargo,
Sure,
right?
yes.
Like, so it's kind of like a secondary twin city in that way. And you got University of Minnesota, Moorhead out there, and you got another college in Fargo, a couple of them. So you got a good college vibe out there. So yeah, there's like a lot of cool stuff in Moorhead and Fargo.
Yeah, North Dakota State, I think, is in,
Yeah.
Fargo. They just won the Summit League title yesterday. But Moorhead High School just won the state Class 2A boys championship. They beat Minnetonka double overtime. It's a huge game. It's a huge day for Moorhead because not only did they get the state title this weekend, yesterday one of their players got announced as Minnesota Mr. Hockey, which is a pretty big deal, I would say.
That does sound like a big
deal. And then their
deal.
quarterback just committed to the U earlier this morning.
Oh, that's very cool.
We got the athletic director at Moorhead High, Mr. Dean Haugo, coming on the show next.
Wow, that's very cool.
You want to stick around and help me out here?
I
for
would
this
be
one?
honored.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. We got some Moorhead High School love for all of our friends up in beautiful Moorhead, Minnesota, coming up right after this. Back here to the afternoon shift, we're joined here by Tane Danger. Went all across the state of Minnesota for this comedy show that he's putting on both Wednesday and Friday, and he didn't make it to Moorhead as part of the comedy show, but you have been before.
Yes.
You have been before, and like we were saying before the break, I don't think there's any high school in the country that's having a better March than Moorhead High School in Minnesota. And seriously, not just the state of Minnesota, the whole country. We got the athletic, or the activities director on the line here, Dean Haugo. Dean, welcome to the afternoon shift. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Great to be here, guys, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you. You know, I asked Tane this right before the break. What's your favorite part about living in Moorhead before we get into all the great athletic accomplishments of Moorhead High?
Oh, that's a great question. We're a small town with a lot of people, and that's a really powerful place to do what I do because we have infrastructure advantages that I would honestly say that even 90% of the metro schools don't have in terms of it's not only Moorhead. We're obviously a sister community with Fargo, North Dakota, West Fargo. There's 7 high schools of good size in the community, and there's piles of resources. Yeah. But yet at the same time, And I think you can, look at the night we had our state football championship, the Saturday night at the state hockey championship, and the jury following. There's also a community component to it that I truly believe is maybe a little bit unique in schools of our size. So we have the advantages of a small town community with the benefits of really being in a pretty reasonably sized metro area.
I love it.
Yeah, this is totally true. I was at a bar in South Minneapolis on Friday night, and the Moorhead Edina hockey game was on. And I will tell you, I don't know, at least everybody that I could see was rooting for Moorhead in this game. And so there's a fandom for Moorhead that like goes out like all across the state, I think. Do you feel that? Do you have a sense of that?
Well, we certainly do, and especially in certain matchups that we get. But guys, I want to be really crystal clear. And I probably will go down just a little bit of a path here, if that's okay, because you referenced Friday night's game. Sometimes when you're in the X and it's hockey Friday night, Thursday night, Saturday, and you play Edina, you got a lot of people on your side. But I really hope that a lot of people took a hard look after Friday and Thursday at the X, where some of the chants that were going on and some of the things that were being directed towards the Edina folks, to me, it was out of line and ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
We love to have people cheering for us, and we really push on our students to cheer for our team rather than against anybody else. But there were times where, truthfully, I was uncomfortable, and I think our community was uncomfortable with what maybe came out of the second level a little bit. And hopefully, there's an open dialogue leading up to next year about appropriate decorum. And I think the league was fighting it a little bit on Friday night. So when you mentioned Friday, it was a wonderful night. It was, obviously, we have people that are going to get on our bandwagon because we're the outstate school against the big metro schools. But I would just hope, as everybody goes forward in the world of high school sports, that we keep it in a little better taste than what I thought it was at times on Friday.
I think that's totally fair, and that's a very healthy note, and particularly when you're talking about high school sports and whatnot. And I appreciate that, and I do also think about I think a lot about this tournament being something that the whole state of Minnesota pays attention to and listens to. People, again, that I was with that night were saying these games are some of the things that people all over the state are watching, whether they actually have a kid in them or not. And that's something kind of special to Minnesota, it seems like, right? It's hard to find that in some other places where there's sort of an event that really pulls a lot of the state's attention, like something like this tournament does.
It is an utterly remarkable tournament to be involved with. I'll be honest with you. I've been at Moorhead 14 years. This is the third time we've played in the state final game. We lost one in 2017. We've won these two. And I got the comment a lot this weekend just from locals because it's a logistical monster, to be honest with you. The ticketing, and it's a sold out arena. So all the ticketing is there is general admission, but the tickets that we get, the 1,500, 2,000 that we get, it is all by seat, and there's way more demand than there is supply. So the work that goes into state hockey, there's not a comparison in other activities, okay? And there's other state, and I'm not saying in terms of importance within your community. I was at state wrestling. We had a kid win the 189-pound match. I got to mention that. Billy Ward, amazing night on Saturday, the Saturday before. And every tournament has its own uniqueness, but hockey from a management and logistics standpoint is a monster. Yeah. But with that said, where I was going with it is I had lots of comments about, well, I bet you can't wait for this weekend to be over. My response is furthest from the truth. If I could live in that energized, euphoric state that is state hockey my entire life, it would be a pretty good way to live because there is just such a massive amount of energy around the tournament.
Let's talk about all that energy. You all won the state title over Minnetonka in double overtime. And then it just got announced, Minnesota Mr. Hockey, Tane Danger. What a weekend for the Moorhead hockey program. Can you just talk about Tane and what was that feeling like? You talk about pure euphoria. What was it like when you scored that game-winning goal in overtime?
Oh, wow. I'll speak from my perspective. I stood against the glass on one end with our students because I'm in charge of the students on one end. But this year compared to last year, this year I was on the what I call the quiet end of the arena. So right behind me there was there's like a lounge. I don't know, it's something they use at Wild Games, but for that night there's nobody in there. I will just say that for me, the second that I told myself for 10 minutes leading up through that overtime period, if we score, just stand here calmly. If we score, just stand here calmly. Just telling myself over and over. We scored. I saw the red lights go off, and I sprinted back into that little thing and just jumped around. I mean, you can't help it. Like if you watch our players and their celebration, I was just watching our celebration with our coaches. We were chuckling. I think half our guys forgot how to skate. I mean, they're literally trying to get down the ice. They're jumping up and down on their skates, falling down. We have a TM. If you guys ever get a chance to see the clip of our team working down the ice and jumping into our students, you're going to see this little fella, one of our TMs, not a very big kid, he's a sophomore, wearing all black. In our celebration, from the bench to our celebration, he beat half of the guys on the ice. I don't know if the young man is a unknown great sprinter, but somehow on a pair of shoes, he got to the celebration before half of the team did. And why I mention all of that is it is euphoric. You can't describe that moment, that feeling, and really, especially considering the nature of how it happened. I mean, Minnetonka is a great hockey team. And they're great in a way that really, I mean, honestly, we're getting to the early, 5 minutes into the third period, and I'm kind of going, oh boy, it's not our night. I mean, because they're so good at keeping you away from the net and stopping you from scoring. And we're an elite scoring team, no question, very offensively minded, but they were really, really good. So for us to score 3 goals to tie it up and then a fourth and double overtime to win, I can say that if you'd have told me that was going to happen with 15 minutes left in the game, I would have probably not certainly believed you because they're that good. But our guys persevered, and it was an amazing night for our kids. You mentioned Tiden. Brandon Mickelson was the Reed Larson Defensive Player of the Year award winner yesterday. Joey Cullen came back from Michigan, and Zach Zimmerman came back from Fargo. And, and we had a lot of guys that came back from other places to play high school hockey this year. And those were, I'm sure, very hard decisions, and other guys that chose not to leave that weren't elsewhere currently. So I think one of the things that we all know in the world of high school hockey is when you and Edina deals with this all the time, Tonka, all the elite programs deal with it. When your kids get to a certain level, you have to recruit your own, and you have to make sure that your program is evolving in a way that matches up with the rest of the hockey world. And, we've went through 2 years ago, we lost for the first time in like 24 years, 23 years, something like that, in the section semifinals. After that loss, we took a really hard look, and I got to give our head coach, John Ammerman, a pile of credit. John is as humble of a leader as you'll ever find. Kid first, makes all decisions based on the kids in the program and not necessarily about the adults. And what I mean by that is he looked at the way that our program was built in terms of coaching staff, our model, how we were practicing, everything. And he really completely overhauled it. And we brought in additional coaches. A year ago, we had Matt Cullen, the former NHLer, on the bench, along with 2 or 3 other gentlemen that came in to help. Matt's world has changed a little bit, so he left. But this year, we kept the same model, brought his brother Mark in, and we've really expanded. And I mentioned those 2, but we've got other people that have had huge impacts as well. But my point is we've stayed fluid, we've stayed active in making sure that our program, good is the enemy of great. And I know it sounds really corny, but maybe we had been in that trap just a little bit. And we've revamped. We've built a program that we think kids. What our objective is for our kids like a Tiden Bergeson, and a Brandon Mickelson they're elite high-end kids that have lots of opportunities to play. Tiden got off to a great start with the Madison Capitals in the USHL. Brandon's out in Wenatchee at the start of the year, and other Zach and Joey all playing elsewhere. We want them to think long and hard about whether they're going to pass up playing for Moorhead. That next year. I can't say their senior year because some of them are still younger, but we're going to do our best to win over our own players. And that leads into a lot of what happened this weekend. And I'm so thrilled for those guys, our entire team. They really worked, and to go back to back is so stinking hard to do. I can't say it any other way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, going back-to-back in hockey is one thing, and then your quarterback today just announced that he committed to PJ Flegg. He's going to go row the boat in the class of 2027. Can you talk about your quarterback, Jet Feeney? He's got a great first name, too.
Well, here's the first thing I'm going to tell all you guys, and hope I'm not letting any cats out of the bag on this one. Jet made the decision last week. Thursday, he had a visit at the University of Minnesota. He didn't tell anybody. And I think the reason that Jet did not tell anybody is Jet wanted Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to be about the hockey team. He did not want it to be about Jet committing to the University of Minnesota. So that should tell everybody who, is wondering about Jet and what Jet's all about, who the heck he is. Because, and he was there. He finished up his, he finished it. And I just, you talk about why Moorhead? Why do we, what's my favorite thing? One of my biggest challenges, this is a flat truth, on Thursday at, what do we play, 6 o'clock? Jet got out of his meetings at the U at 5. Kevin, his dad, who's our head football coach, had Jet and I on a thread, and I got a ticket for Jet because they weren't sure if he'd be done in time. So I got him a ticket to hockey. And then, the people at the XL can, they can know our secrets now, but my ticket was in 222, and I was intent on making sure Jet got down into the 100s where our students were. So we got Jet down there. Not going to say how we did it. It's actually, the kid is pretty crafty, so we're going to give him some credit there.
Nice.
But the fact that it was that important for Jet after a day that he had to go down and support his hockey buddies and the hockey team, I thought, and just to be a part of the student population and the student section, I think that tells every Gopher fan what they're getting in Jet Feeney. He is a winner, and he is a team first guy. He has all the intangibles. I've got a good football background, but I don't get into the dynamics of what makes a quarterback great. All I know is when he's on the field, our team's pretty stinking good. And as a thrower of the ball, you read all this stuff online and people are asking all kinds of questions. Jet started for us as a freshman, and we were at the 5A level at that time. And that's not, in Section 8 5A is really, really good high school football. Alexandria, Brainerd, Bemidji, really well schemed, really well coached. And the first thing I noticed watching him play as a freshman was he has just got a wonderful feel for throwing a football. It's hard to explain. It's just time and target. He's on time, he's on target. And it doesn't matter if he's moving around, if he's in the pocket, he's just on time and on target. And I love watching him play. I always feel if he's on the field, we're going to have a great chance to win. I don't see that being any different at the University of Minnesota. Obviously, it's a jump, no question about it. But he's a grinder. He's a high-level competitor, and obviously he's got 2 other teammates that are also committed to Minnesota, which we're pretty. Hey, there's nobody here who's gonna lie and tell you we're not excited about that, Moorhead. Obviously, each of those guys had offers, and the fact that they chose to commit to play in their home state school, we are utterly thrilled about. And David Mack is an elite wide receiver. I think everybody at the state level saw that, and Tay Rich is just a wonderful football player as well. So we're thrilled for those guys to have made the decision to continue their careers at Minnesota, and hopefully everybody down in the metro area got a little taste of them last year as we played 6A football for the first time, and hopefully they'll welcome them with open arms to the metro when they get down there.
I think so.
I love it. I was going to say, Coach, Mr. Dean Haugo, the activities director at Moorhead High School. Really do appreciate your time. Congratulations on all your successes of this past weekend and all your future successes going forward. We do appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Thanks. We going to go on a road trip to Moorhead? Is that what you're going to take me in your car?
That's a good drive.
That's a good drive.
Great. Again, I love Fargo Moorhead, and so I would anytime. And you need to get out.
I know. But in our next segment, what we're going to do is we're going to play a little game, news or not, but it's all about Minnesota small town intricacies and whatnot. And
I love it. I'm going to do the best I can to take you around the state without us leaving the studio.
Perfect. Why don't you throw it to break, Tane? You're probably I've never had anybody else throw it to break here. Yeah.
Break. No, I could do it. No, this is great. We'll be back in just a minute. We're going to do a little bit of trivia. You are going to learn some things about different communities all around our beautiful state. I don't know. I just took over. Hi, I'm Tane Danger. I'm very excited to be here. This is very fun. We're playing a game called News or Nah.
Yes.
Right. But this is all related to the reason I'm here today is because my company Danger Boat Productions is doing a show this week called Sketches of Minnesota, where we went all over Minnesota and collected stories and we turned it into a sketch comedy show. And I'm going to use this as an opportunity to plug. You can come to this show totally for free Wednesday night in Minneapolis at the Luminary Theater in the North Loop, or on Friday night in Rochester at the Civic Theater. It's very fun. It's like a tour of Minnesota through sketch comedy in about 60 minutes. Free to attend and a blast. Like Saturday Night Live, but every sketch is about a different town in Minnesota. Since we can't do that whole show here, we're gonna do a quiz about some of the towns that we went to as part of our Sketches of Minnesota show.
And you got to be careful. Grace is the champion, really, the last few
I'm
weeks
good
here.
at quizzes. I'm good at quizzes that we have. But a lot of the towns that you guys are featuring, I don't know much or anything about. So you really might. I don't know even if I'm really at a huge advantage here.
I have my knowledge, unless we're talking about Minneapolis or St. Paul, my knowledge is very low here.
This
so.
is okay. Well, this is gonna be. I feel like if you lose, which seems likely, that you like you were gonna have to like go on a road trip with us. That is going to be the penalty.
I'm down.
It'll be fun.
Okay. So should we jump in?
Yeah, let's
So
get started. Let's get
I'm
started.
gonna read you one of these things, and then you hold something up.
Yeah, news or nah?
Nah.
Okay.
Right.
And news means true.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nah. Just we were talking about Minnesota terms before. I don't know if nah is a Minnesota
don't
term.
think
I think that's more of a
Minnesota.
West Coast term.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Rosemount.
No, that's the Minnesota.
No.
No.
No. Okay. All right. Our first town, Rosemount. Rosemount was supposed to be Rose Mountain until an 1857 paperwork mistake dropped the space, and the town just kept it that way. Is that news or not?
Oh, this is interesting.
I'm gonna go with nah, just because there's no real mountains in Minnesota. Are there mountains in Minnesota? I feel like there's a lot of hills. I don't know about mountains, so I just have a hard time believing in a mountain in Minnesota.
Yeah,
That's my
I'm gonna
rationale.
go nah too.
That's my
I'm
rationale.
gonna go no.
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 No is
We
correct.
both
Right,
got
all
it. There
right,
we
okay.
go. There we go.
The fact here, Rosemount was platted in 1857, which is a year before statehood, which is good, but good to know. But no, it was not a typo. The name just came from early settlers. I did say Rosemount, named after the mountain of rose petals that they just maintain.
That would
at
be
all
nice.
times.
That would be
You know,
nice.
it's not.
You
that.
won't
Anyway.
see that if you go to Rosemount.
No, they're very Irish. They have a whole lot of Irish things. And there was a thing in there. They want to build the world's largest leprechaun statue. They haven't
I
done
love
it
that.
yet. But if
Adam
they do,
is the #1 St. Patrick's Day
I
fan.
love St. Patrick's Day. I was gonna say they're gonna throw down next Tuesday for
they
sure.
totally are.
All right.
You should do a remote show from there.
You
Okay.
totally
That would be
should.
fun. That would be fun.
Okay, we're gonna move along. Number 2. Oh, I really liked this town. Bram.
Okay.
Bram.
Minnesota. This one's a little north of the metro, about an hour north. This town, so in 1990, Bram declared itself the homemade pie capital of Minnesota and built an annual festival around it.
Homemade pie
Gotta
capital.
throw yourself back to 1990. I feel like there's good music on the CD player.
Yeah.
You know what?
You're
I feel
going
like this
news?
is news. I feel like this is something Minnesotans would do.
Yeah.
I mean, we just called Anoka the Halloween capital of the world for really no crazy great reasons. So I'm going to say this is news.
Bram.
Bram.
I'm just to differentiate. I'm gonna go nah because I feel like Lauren and Drago was telling us about some pie festival this past summer, and I don't remember hearing the word Bram. I don't know. So I feel like it was a different city. So I don't know, but
We'll see.
Bram, Minnesota. Let's see.
I don't know.
And the people at home, it
look
is
at
news.
that.
It is news. They call themselves the homemade. And one of the only regrets I have from the Sketches of Minnesota tour that we did is that we missed homemade pie week by a week. We showed up a week late. I mean, that was when they didn't have time for us like during pie week because literally almost everyone in town is baking pies. There are thousands of pies available.
That's
and
crazy.
They judge them all. You can walk down Main Street and just get pieces of pie.
Oh,
That's
that
amazing.
sounds awesome. Yeah.
pretty
We got
fun.
to make it to
Bram.
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 That's on my list.
I wasn't aware of your
Pronounced like
game, Bram.
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving along. This is Ottertail County. Ottertail County was named.
A real name.
It is a real name. Was named in 1858, even though early government records allegedly noted no otters observed.
What?
That's news. That's so funny. It has to be news.
But like it's named Ottertail. Like how else do you come up with the name Ottertail if there's no
I
otters
think
there?
that's hilarious.
There's got to be otters.
Maybe
there.
they were there when the otters were hibernating. I don't know. I don't know.
That is not news. So, but you are not far because Ottertail County formed in 1858 again, right around St. Louis, named after, but it is actually named after the Ottertail River, reportedly named for French fur traders for its shape, though, not for there being lots of otters.
Okay.
There is no official recording of. Do you know Ottertail County's actual motto?
Okay.
What is it?
Find your inner otter.
Oh,
Which I always
like
think is
that.
a little playful.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah.
playful.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen an otter in real life?
No, I was about to say not knowingly. I haven't
Okay.
seen an otter.
We gotta go to the Minnesota Zoo. They've got an otter
They do.
exhibit that was my favorite as a kid.
That's where I saw them. We did see them at the Minnesota Zoo. They kind of go in the water
They're
and they
cute.
do their thing. Yeah,
They're
okay,
very
all right.
cute,
All
but they
right.
stink.
When you say I didn't see one knowingly, it's like I saw like a large man in a trench coat, and it might have been a bunch of otters.
It could have been. It
Yeah.
could have been.
You never know.
We did see them at the zoo, though. Yeah, they're cute.
They're very
I can
cute.
get behind
They
them.
They're
play.
very
Yeah,
cute.
I don't know. Is Ottertail County far from here, though? Or
Yes.
Yeah, it's far.
Yeah.
It's way out west, but the most lakes of any county in Minnesota.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I think that I think I'm supposed to keep going. All right. Here we go. Fawston, Minnesota. In 1990s, Fawston adopted the nickname Star City after investing in community astronomy programming.
The real I mean I
News.
got that sounds. It just sounds good to
That
me.
sounds
Fawston.
nice.
Yeah, it sounds like it
News.
makes sense. So
I like that.
Yeah, I also feel like there's got to be some city. Weren't the original hockey team was the North Stars? So like, there's got to be some. There's got to be some city. That,
The state motto is L'Etoile des Nord, the Star of the North. So
Okay, yeah.
that is
News.
news.
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Good for you.
We're tied.
We're tied.
We are. I'm good. I'm glad someone's keeping score. I did not realize that was part of my job. Okay, great. Okay, that's good. Boston, that's way out there. That you're not too far off from Moorhead once you're out that way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're way out west out there.
Okay.
But it's a great community. We have a great time there.
Yes.
Great food. Okay, here we go. Edge of the Wilderness. Edge of the Wilderness, Edge of the World. Minnesota's Edge of the Wilderness got its name because everything north of it was once considered the edge of civilization. This is actually Big Fork, which I was mentioning to you
right.
before. So,
Right.
but their community they talk about as the Edge of the Wilderness. So is this news or nah?
I'm going no.
It just it just sounds good.
No.
You're going no though.
I'm going no.
No.
I'm just. It's just the vibe.
It just let's see here. I see.
Oh my gosh, you're
It is
beating
news.
me.
It's way up there. And it's beautiful. You really do. You go Highway 38 near Grand Rapids. You just keep going. Officially designated Edge of the Wilderness Scenic Byway, and historically marked the transition from settled farmland into remote North woods.
Wow, Paul, do we have time for the last question? One more question.
One more
All
question.
right.
Okay, I'm hitting it hard. Here we go. New Ulm. I really like New Ulm.
yeah.
Her dedicated in 1897. New Ulm's 102-foot Herman Monument remains one of the largest copper statues in the United States. News or not? This is Herman the German statue.
There's so much weird things in Minnesota statues that
Yeah,
just gotta be true.
I think
right?
it's
like
true.
The Paul Bunyan deal.
We're going news, both
Yeah.
Adam and I.
Yeah.
This is news.
Yep.
This is news. 102-foot tall, including its pedestal, dedicated in 1897. So it is technically the third largest copper statue in the United States after the Statue of Liberty and the Statue of Portlandia. How do I know this? Because if you come to Sketches of Minnesota, I play Herman the German in the show.
Oh.
I actually am playing this exact role, and so I learned a lot of Herman the German facts.
This has been so fun. Tane, thank you for joining us for the last 3 segments.
I love it.
I've learned so much.
Same.
We're going to have to go. We'll all go on a road trip. And yeah, it's happening this Wednesday.
So this Wednesday in Minneapolis, totally free. Go to dangerboat.net and click on upcoming events. Get your tickets, and it's going to be a fun show. Watch me be Hermit the German.
I'm so excited.
And Friday in Rochester for all of our friends there too. So Tane, thanks so much, and Grace, thanks for joining. I'm sorry I got you this time though,
It's
Grace.
okay.
I
It's
got you
okay.
this time.
Next time.
You got
Next
Friday.
time.
You got
Yeah,
Friday.
I got Friday.
Yes. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit about sports betting with one of these bill authors that's trying to get it passed in the Minnesota State Capitol. That's Representative Nolan West. Representative West coming up right after this. Welcome back here inside Studio 9 at the afternoon shift. Sports betting, it is legal in some capacity in 40 states, but Minnesota is not one of them. In fact, Minnesota is the only state in the Midwest where sports betting is not legal in any capacity. There is a push to change that this legislative session, and at the forefront of that push is Republican Representative Nolan West. Representative West joins me right now. Representative West, thanks so much for making time for us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Representative West, I got to tell you, sports betting is something I love to partake in when I'm not in Minnesota. When done correctly and responsibly, I think it's really exciting thing. And it used to be really special when you went to Nevada, but now, like I said, it's in 39 other states. My first question to you is, do you enjoy doing this when you're not in Minnesota? And is that kind of the big reason why you really want to see this enacted here in the state?
Yes, I have driven down to Iowa to take a few bets here and there. Not so much recently. I got beat on an over-under pretty bad. I'm like, you know what? Getting a little carried away here. But mostly, I always support these issues that are about, if nobody's being directly harmed, people should be able to make their own decisions, govern their own lives. And that's where my sport stems from.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So where are we currently at in the state of Minnesota with sports betting? Because I feel like there's been so much conversation the last year or so about it, and it gains traction, and then it's like 5 steps forward and 10 steps back, I feel like. Where are we at now?
That's a pretty good descriptor. So we do have prediction markets, which are available nationwide that are like sports betting. Then we can't regulate those at the state level. At the state level, for the traditional style of sports betting, there was a bill that was negotiated last time, but didn't quite make it there. And that's being brought up again, more or less. But there's a lot of different interests when it comes to a bill that creates new tax revenue. And then there's also the tribal monopoly on the ability to do sports betting that creates a very difficult environment of getting passed. So the bill has been introduced in the Senate. It is not a bill that I support as is, but it's probably going to look close to that if we manage to get it passed this year.
Can you talk more about that tribal monopoly? Because that does seem to be kind of the biggest sort of hang up in actually getting this passed, is working out that relationship. What's that all about?
Yeah, so because they have an existing monopoly on like slot machines and those kind of things, if it's not a card room, which we have 2 card rooms and racetracks, they want to maintain a gaming monopoly, and they oppose any expansion of gaming. My first offer was saying, okay, you can have a monopoly on sports betting, but then we'll legalize craps and roulette, and the card rooms and the tribal casinos can all participate in that. To me, that was kind of a even trade, but they're opposed to any expansion on principle, regardless of any kind of, what's fair political trading sort of way. So now that's like, okay, if that's where we're at, then it becomes about the tax revenue. And that has been another thing that's just everybody wants a slice of the pie, and there's only so much to go around.
Yeah, let's talk about that tax revenue, Representative West. You just said you've driven down to Iowa to place bets. You said you lost on an over-under. A piece of that pie, of that bet that you placed, went directly to the Iowa State Capitol and went into the tax revenue there. When people are betting nationwide in whatever states they're doing it in, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, wherever, when the state is getting a cut of every single one of those bets, win or lose. How much money do you think Minnesota could be making off of this on a yearly basis just by legalizing this? It seems like they're leaving a lot of money potentially on the table.
Yeah, there is a lot of money to be made. However, it's not as much as people think, I would say. Because there's a lot of different factors in, are you going to do brick and mortar only or mobile sports betting, in-game sports betting? There's been a debate on all those things. I would say it's in the range of $25-ish million. But when you divide that up between the tribal governments want a slice of that tax revenue, the horse tracks want a slice of that tax revenue, the charitable gaming, so like your pull tabs, they want a slice of that revenue. Then there's the addressing the negative impacts of sports betting, which do exist, and we should address them. Yep. Then there's that slice. So by the time it gets to the general fund, like what would be used to lower your tax burden as a regular person, there's not a lot left over, and trying to navigate that is very difficult.
I have a question, and it might sound a bit dumb here asking this question, but say someone is in Minnesota and they bet online on a sports, and are they breaking the law?
Yes, but not so much the consumer themselves. It's the entity taking
that allows you to do it. So, yeah. But then to further Adam's question too about, the money that's left on the table, say someone does put a bet in here in Minnesota, where does the slice of that pie go to? With the state that entity is based in? Is like the online betting agency, is that who then pays the state tax in Nevada, if they're in Nevada or California?
So legitimate companies can't operate here because of the law. So you're not going to see BetMGM or something like that participating here.
FanDuel.
You see Bovada and these offshore Cayman sports books. Those are the ones that participate here. And then there's the prediction markets, which because the prediction markets are regulated federally, that money's all federal. The state's literally prevented we can't levy a tax on that. So those go either out of country if they're betting here, basically, or you have to travel across state lines and then it goes to the other state.
So, but then just DraftKings, for example, they can't operate in Minnesota, but does that get do I get geo blocked if I try and go to that website here in Minnesota? Is that how that works for people that maybe don't bet online?
If you don't mind, Representative West, I'll jump in here. You can get onto DraftKings onto the Sportsbook app. You cannot place a bet when you're within the state lines of Minnesota, but you can see odds and everything. You just can't place a bet. You got it. The closest place would be Iowa, Illinois,
right?
Both of those places where e-gaming is allowed. So, yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah. This is something I'm very passionate about, Representative West, if you can't tell. And, one of the biggest things that I got to say about this, to me, and you're a Republican representative, to me that this is the most bipartisan issue that could be possibly out in the Minnesota State Capitol. Both Democrats and Republicans both like betting on sports. This is not a bipartisan thing. Do you see it the same way?
Well, so there's so many bipartisan things that are bipartisan in real life, and then you get to the fantasy land that is the legislature, and then suddenly when you add 50 lobbyists and $100 million to the equation, then it's aggressively partisan. And, really that's when you talk about all the stakeholders involved, each party likes one stakeholder better than another stakeholder, and then suddenly it's not about the policy that the people want, it's about all this fighting on what's done with the money, which is I can imagine it's so infuriating, especially from the outside.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a great point there. There's got to be, it's got to be regulated. There's got to be, proper ways to do this. I went to college in the state of Indiana, and I'm glad that this was not legal when I was in college, because I know a lot of people that would have probably lost a lot of money. So there needs to be the proper ways that are in place. Representative West, I'll ask you this, because this is a question a lot of people across the state are asking. If you were a betting man, no pun intended, when would you say that you'll see a day where, as Paul mentioned, you could land at MSP Airport, you can open up DraftKings Sportsbook, and you can bet on the Minnesota Wild to win that night? When will we see that day?
Well, the odds this year, I'd say about are plus 1,000.
That's not good. That's 10-1, everybody at home.
It's still possible.
Yes.
I'm happy to have those discussions. I would say give it 4 years, and I would say that's when the odds get like plus 120.
There you go. It's crazy. And you talk about the 10 states where this is not legal, and Minnesota is one of them. But there's some heavy hitters that are still out on the table. California, not legal. Texas, not legal. So some big states with a lot of people. And again, I talk about bipartisanship. California, a blue state. Texas, a red state, but people in both of those states love betting on sports. And so we'll see what ends up happening for this, but a lot of conversations on both sides, and I get it. So Representative West, this is one of the most hot-button issues in Minnesota, and something that I have a keen interest in as well. So really do appreciate your time and all your insights here.
This was my favorite sports betting interview yet. So
how about that? I'll take that. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, Representative West. Thank you. Well, more to come on the sports betting front here as we continue learning more about it, and we'll see if Minnesota actually gets this legalized like so many want it. But there's obviously a lot of people out there that are opposed to it as well. So we'll see what ends up happening. We're gonna go to commercial break, and when we come back, we'll assess what we're gonna do next here on the afternoon shift. Don't go anywhere. More to come from the afternoon shift right after this. Welcome back here inside Studio 9. I brought it up at the beginning of today's show. There's big action tonight right here on Fox 9, 7 p.m. USA, Mexico, World Baseball Classic group play. Mexico beat the United States in the last World Baseball Classic. The U.S. trying to avenge that loss, starting Pittsburgh Pirates ace Paul Skeens on the mound tonight. Minnesota Twins outfielder Byron Buxton on Team USA's roster. And right now, members of Team USA are speaking in Houston, where the game tonight will be taking place. Let's listen in live and see what Team USA has to say.
On the mound tonight.
Yeah, he's capable of going 5 if the pitch count's right. But we'll kind of in-game make that decision, myself and Andy Pettit.
Go up front on your right here.
Hi, Alex Adalavalle from Albat, Mexico. What has been your favorite thing of the WBC till now? And what would you say to those players that are thinking about playing or doubting about not playing WBC? Would you recommend them to play?
Yeah, I definitely recommend to play in the WBC. My favorite thing about this tournament is the honor of representing your country. We have a bunch of guys in that room that are proud to be American and proud to represent our great country, and we feel fortunate to be able to take the field with the stars and stripes on. And we don't take that opportunity for granted, and we are going to leave it all out on the field.
Thank you.
Stay in the same row in the middle here.
Good afternoon, Arturo Recio for ESPN Deportes. Mark, 2 quick questions. First one, seeing how the game between United States and Mexico ended the last time you guys played, do you see this as some sort of payback game for you guys? And the second one, yesterday Benji Hill made some remarks about your comments about having the best players in the world. He said, he pushed back on the idea. He said, hey, DR, Japan, and Venezuela might have something to say, and we don't care about the best players in the world. We care about having the best players in the game against them. I would like to hear your thoughts on that.
My thoughts on that are, my day job is I work in the media, so I understand how, one little snippet of what is said can get taken out of context. The question was, how do you approach it without their pitcher being, they hadn't named their pitcher yet. So for me, I just said, I don't care who's pitching for them. We're going to worry about us. That was the answer. If that's used as bulletin board material, that's not what I was doing. Ton of respect for Mexico. Ton of respect for the way they played together in this tournament. They've beaten the United States, I believe, 3 out of the last 4 times. I remember 2023 vividly. I remember Joey Meneses' 2 homers, Randy Arozarena, all of it. I have a ton of respect for their players. They are fantastic. Ton of respect for Benji. I just have a ton of confidence in the guys in our room, and that's what I was just trying to convey. So, no, I don't see it as payback. I see it about worrying about winning the bracket, winning our pool, and advancing.
That's third row on your right, Bob.
Hey, Mark, back with that Turk Skubal, it was such an emotional decision for him. Did you kind of stay away from it and try not to influence?
I did. I did that with every player here. They got to be here under their own want to. I can't be the reason they're sitting in the room. That's just too much. I would think. I would be worried about every pitch he throws. I know what's at stake for him. I'm over the moon he decided to show in the first place for us. I really am, and take the ball for us. I think it meant a lot to a lot of guys in that room, and we know where his heart is. And if he was in a different situation, he wouldn't be leaving. But I also understand that 99.9% of the guys, if given his ability to get to free agency and just generational wealth on the table and everything he's got in front of him, a chance to win 3 Cy Youngs in a row, I was proud that he even showed. Boris.
Go to David in the third row.
Mark, it looks like the whole Air Force baseball team will be here to watch Paul pitch. And there was a report out there earlier that Paul and Griffin may have gotten them all tickets. Is that true? You know?
I don't know that to be true. I would assume that's true. Yeah, I don't know. It's true.
I don't know.
I was just wondering what it might say about those guys if they're
yeah, they're special guys. I had special conversations with both of them. I mean, obviously their process is a little bit different than the rest of the guys in the room. living that military background and going to school and attending Air Force. I know in my talks for both of them, every guy in that room is proud to represent the United States of America, but the conversations with them were a little bit different as far as wanting to represent every serviceman and woman who protects our freedom on a nightly basis. I mean, they're thinking a little bit different.
Row behind, Sean.
Alex, last time you played in the WBC, y'all won the championship. Who were the leaders on that team, and have you been able to draw anything from them that you now can lead this team?
Looking back on that team, I felt like that's a really good question. I can't really pinpoint one because I feel like everybody kind of led in their own way. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing with this ball club. I feel like we got a lot of guys who obviously have a lot of confidence in each other and themselves and have won, and are baseball players. And I felt like that team was full of baseball players that found a way to win baseball games, and I feel like that's kind of the makeup of this team as well.
Do a few last ones, Christy, and then Chandler.
Hey, Alex, I saw you nodding your head when DeRosa was talking about Scooble and his decision not to continue. He talked about the support you guys have given him for, whatever decision he makes. Was it easy just to be on his side regardless of what decision he made?
100%. Tarek's awesome. Awesome human being, awesome player, one of the best pitchers in the world. And we kind of all understand the situation that he's in, and whatever decision he was going to make, we fully have his back. And we were, like Mark said, we were thankful that he even showed up to pitch a single inning for us. So we know where his heart is. We know.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. It's been a very big 2 days.
This is President Donald Trump right now speaking at Trump National Doral. We're taking this to you, happening now live. Let's listen in.
And I'd like to wish everyone a very good evening. And over the weekend, the United States military and the Israeli Defense Forces continued Operation Epic Fury very successfully. Over the past 9 days, we've carried out some of the most powerful and complex military strikes and maneuvers the world has ever seen. Now, you add that up to all of the other things, Midnight Hammer, getting rid of the nuclear threat from Iran, which was a big moment in history, in my opinion, and the great success we've had in Venezuela and all other places. Every place we've gone, we've had tremendous success. But while we're doing all of these things, we're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of the sea. It's almost 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing has been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets. And we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it. If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to. But they're the kind of things that are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in 1 day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers and 83% drop in drone launchers. As you know, the drone launchers are pretty well shot, but we're at over 90% decline in the Iranian missile launchers, which is very hard to reproduce and very hard to get. And usually what we were able to do through great equipment, a lot of smart people, as soon as they sent a missile up from a launcher, we were able to knock out that launcher within a period of 5 minutes or less, accurately right on the noggin. So now we have low-cost interceptors effectively combating Iranian drones, and our B-2 bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound bombs to destroy missile launchers all over Iran and buried deep under Iranian soil in many cases. The soil was no match. And we're also annihilating the manufacturing base that the regime uses to build drones and missiles at a rate that nobody thought was possible. We're knocking them out. We know where they all are. We're knocking them out very quickly. We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here, in addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe 3 times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with a situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years, whether it's the barracks or even the SS Cole where they were involved. Very strongly, they always denied it. But where they were very strongly involved in all of the people that died through the roadside bombs, died and are right now walking around with no legs, no arms, a face that's been so badly damaged. The Iranian regime has been attacking Americans and spreading terror for 47 years, and despite these countless opportunities to renounce their nuclear ambitions, which they had just a short while ago, they told Mr. Witkoff, who is standing right over here, they said, they actually said, we want to keep building. Essentially, in a real nutshell, we want to continue to build nuclear weapons. If we didn't knock out Midnight Hammer, if we didn't knock out their Iranian potential, if we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now. And at a minimum, Israel would have been annihilated. I was very lucky that we had the courage to do that, that we had the talented, their Iranian potential. If we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now. And at a minimum, Israel would have been annihilated. I was very lucky that we had the courage to do that, that we had the talented pilots and the great